So what we're hoping that you walk away with today, for those of you who don't have a website, or maybe you do and you're just looking to advance it, we want to just arm you with the knowledge to spend your time and resources right. As small business owners, you are limited in time, resources, and budget. So we just want to help you to know, these are the basics. This is what you could do yourself. And, oh, this is a little bit more advanced. You really want to be focusing on running your business, not being a website designer. But with the basics, we can at least get you up and running until you're ready to get to that next level. All right, so the Wix content management system. So first off, I'm going to tell you why I'm focusing just on Wix and Shopify, other than the fact that we don't have 44,000 hours, then we had to pick two. I love Wix, and you'll see from Shopify, it's a lot of the same thing. It's a one-stop shop. And it's super easy, and you don't have to be a website designer who knows HTML5 and a lot of code. It's drag and drop, which I'm going to show you. The website that you wind up with, for me, there are a lot of other alternatives out there, but Wix gives you out of the box for non-designers a professional looking website, and you can have it up. If it's an informational website and you've already got your pictures and your text, you can have it up in just a few hours. By this time tomorrow, you could have a professional looking website to drive your customers to. And we've covered it in the business fundamentals webinars and a number of other webinars, why we as SCORE mentors believe you really need a website just for legitimacy. It separates you from maybe a competitor who doesn't have a website. Your website gives more information on your business, even if you're not selling anything. And it is the front door to your brand. So that's why you want it to look professional. What I also like about Wix, and you may not understand what this really means, but it's really got a lot of movement potential. There's you'll see a couple of different demonstrations, but it's got some robust functionality that you can add easily that make you look just a little bit more advanced and professional than other people. For those of you who are with us on Thursday, when we talked with Jessica from Cardsetter, Jessica gave a webinar on planning out your website before you just jump right in. And we talked a lot at the end about the difference between a WordPress site where you have to get separate hosting, and then maybe you've got a GoDaddy site, and what a few of the elements that we really like about Wix, especially for small business owners. You're not developers, you're not designers, trying to hook up your own hosting and security certificates and figuring out SEO. All of those, there are people who spend their entire careers as just SEO experts or security, website security experts. So what we really like is, for the small business owner, it's a one-stop shop. Wix just takes care of it. When you buy your hosting and you put up your website through Wix, your secure certificate is included. Your images are optimized for speed, which is important for your search engine optimization. And we've got separate webinars and all of that. We're not going to dive into those details, but this is all kind of important stuff that exists as silos in a lot of other places, but Wix just handles it for you. The other thing that we also like is they have a great SEO wizard on Wix, not so much on Shopify, but Wix used to have a terrible reputation for search engine optimization. Now I actually think they're one of the best out of all of the content management systems you can choose, and they make it super easy for small businesses. And the other thing we like about Wix is that they have great training videos. So just type in Wix Basics 101 or Wix tutorial, and there's a ton of training for you. So as I said earlier, I could give you a lot of different reasons, but we really like Wix for you. Those of you who have services maybe just need one page to tell people about your services. A lawyer, a contractor, an accountant. You just need one really professional looking page, maybe 3 or 4 if you want to add specific pages about different parts of your service. But it's really more informational than it is functionally selling products. that also includes, bookings. So, booking appointments, etc. Wix makes it really easy to add those features or to have classes. I'm just going to run through this really fast because I want to have enough time to get hands-on. So just go to wix.com. If you haven't already, you sign up, with your email and a password. Wix is going to say, let's bring your ideas to life. What I like again about Wix is that they have really good wizards, and we are going to steer you towards templates. You're going to hear a lot of opinions. Oh, I don't like templates. It makes me look like everybody else. That's not true. Number one, it's only true if you leave the template the way that it is. A template is just a starting point for you. And so why reinvent the wheel and try to decide where you want your hero images and where you want your text and everything else, if you can start with a template that's 80% of the way there and then just replace images and text to customize it to you. I promise you, your customers are not going to go, hey, that layout was the same at this person. If your pictures and your text are different and you customize it a little bit, you're fine using a template. So on Wix, they say, what kind of a website are you creating? And in our case, I'm going to keep going down here to get to my presentation, but we put in dog groomer. We're going to pretend that we're a dog groomer just for something to so that we can show you how it's done. So Anne's dog grooming. They're going to ask me, what are the goals for your website? And I check off, sell products, promote the business, build a community. Or as we said, we really like Wix for services, but I did want to show you that it can do all of these things. And what Wix, the wizard is doing is this will actually drop all of this functionality onto what's called my dashboard. So kind of pick, what you want. You don't have to, you could check all of them and you don't have to use each section. So what it allows is when they ask, so do I want to allow bookings if I'm for services? And their bookings setup is super easy. Do I want to have an online store? Do I want to have functionality where if people come, I can set hours to chat with them when they come to visit my website? Do I want events, etc.? So they've got a number of different things. Just look through all of that. And what Wix is doing is just asking you so that they can steer you towards good templates. So then we kind of indicated what we wanted. And now I'm going to show you a Wix demo. So let me just share my screen. Here, going to start. So this is one of the starts for Wix editor. And you have the choice. You can go to what's called, yours might look a little bit different. I think I might even have an example of that over here. It might look like this. So, just kind of walk through the questions that they ask. And I would recommend do not have the Wix ADI unless you're really, really uncomfortable with, setting up the basics. The Wix automatic learning will kind of take your questions and they will put together a website for you based on a lot of different information. We actually like starting with the Wix editor with a template. So we're going to say start now. And do you see here, because I told them that I was a pet groomer, do you see here some templates that I could just start with? And it's really up to you, what has the look and the feel of your brand? Is it, with this image here in the middle and the logo on the left and the navigation on the right? Or is your brand, do you want to pick a template that's a little bit more information, here with an about us and what your story is. So you could just kind of pick the one that works for you. So for the sake of time, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to pick a pet care provider. It does not matter that it says pet care provider and I said I was a groomer. I could have picked a doctor's office if it was the right looking template. We're going to replace all of the images and the text so that it talks about you as a groomer. So now Wix is putting together, based on some of the questions that I had asked, Wix is putting together my dashboard, which handles the back end of my website, as well as the front end of my website. So right now here, this is the front end. This is where all my pictures are, but I'm going to take a second and I'm actually going to go, oops. So I'm going to save my site. And I'm just going to call it Anne Grooming. Oops. And I'm going to say save and continue. And now I'm going to go to what's called the Wix dashboard just to show you a little bit about the back end of the website, so that you understand how your website is built. I'm also going to say, did everybody notice that I didn't give a credit card? Right now, I'm just on a free trial with Wix. And you see up here my domain, which we'll look at later, but is Anne's RI Dog Grooming. And I haven't yet connected a domain. So all of that happens later. I could be creating my website. I can see if I like Wix, but I haven't paid a cent yet. I could decide tomorrow I like WordPress better or Squarespace better. So I would go in and just do your free trial of Wix. So I selected the logo and now I'm on my Wix dashboard. This is typically where you enter when you come into Wix, once you've set up your site. And the dashboard really handles all the functionality of your website, the back end, what's the engine that makes it drive. And then up here, where we're going to go later, is edit site, which is the front end. And what the front end means is the customer facing end, where it's the look and the feel and the design of your website. But having your back end and understanding your back end is important first. And there's a lot of different things in here. And what I generally like to say to people is crawl before you walk, walk before you run. You don't have to know all of the things here on your dashboard. I'm going to point some out, but we had said, but we're not going to go through all of them. We had said we wanted booking services. So I have booking services here. That's a little more advanced for you to go in and figure out how to set up the booking services. So we're not going to cover all of that. But the few areas I do want to show you here on the dashboard that are important. Here, home. This is just where you are. Second, we are going to review later on in the presentation, these marketing and SEO tools. So up here. And then the last is here under settings. So these are the three places I would start you with. And you do not, take your time on the others, walk through them slowly so that you understand them, but just for the basics to get you up and going, know the home, the marketing tab, and then settings. And the reason why I point you to settings is this is everything that drives you. So if I wanted to accept payments, Wix interfaces with Square, it interfaces with Stripe, it has its own payment called Wix Payments. If I wanted to connect my domain, let's say, we're going to talk about it later, but let's say on GoDaddy, I have Anne's Grooming RI.com. I want to connect that to this free Wix site. That's where I would do that. So now I'm going to show you the front end, which the front end just means what people actually see, the images and the design. So I'm going to go to edit site, which brings you to the front end. Okay. So this now, do you see these grids? This is our designer. And then if I wanted to, I could hit this preview and see the way that a customer might see it. So do you see that? It's now what a customer might actually see. Up here on the right, I'm going to go back to editor. So I just want to show you, again, all of this can seem overwhelming. My goal today is just to show you the three places to go so that you can get up and going with your own website quickly. We don't want to get distracted by, rabbit holes, going, to super detailed what if things. Let's just get you a website. I'm going to talk about how to create pages, how to influence your navigation, and how to change your text. In order to do that, I'm just going to show you up here. You can go to, different pages here that are already preset based on the template that you created. You can also go here to the left-hand side. And what I'm going to tell you is, you can look at each of these areas for your website, in your own time. But the one that you're really going to focus on here is pages and menu. That is just, I need to set up different kinds of pages. I need to, this plus sign, which is I need to add elements to a page. And those elements could be images, a button, a strip. We're going to talk about all of this in a second. Or an individual section of a page. Others we are not going to cover will be more advanced, which is you could input a set theme if you don't like this. Let's say you want to change all of these blues on the buttons to a default of red. That's all here in the site theme. We've got apps that we can add. We can do actually collections of different things, but that's all, it's a lot to cover. So today we're just going to talk about adding new pages and adding elements to those pages. Other useful things to understand or to use here in the backend editor, here under tools, you can set up tools to see what have I got going on in the different sections of my page that I'm looking at. You've got a header at the top, which is generally where your navigation goes. And I recommend everybody to leave the header alone, meaning leave it. We're going to customize it, but leave it. Typically, you have a footer with additional information. And then you've got the body of the page itself, which is here. So you can see all of that when you look at tools. I could look at the toolbar here, which will allow me to do certain things, to duplicate or copy a page, to delete a section. So all of that, just kind of take your time and look at the tools later. When we start doing things, these little buttons are, let's say I accidentally, deleted that picture and I'm like, oh no, I didn't want to delete that picture. I wanted that picture. I can undo it, undo what I just did, or I can redo what I just did. And then the last pieces I wanted to point out were up here. Let's say I'm doing a lot of changes, but I'm not ready to publish it yet. I can just save it where it is and come back to it tomorrow or the next day until I'm ready to actually publish it out to my customers. And in the meantime, I can preview what it looks like here on this page. So that's just a simple walkthrough on kind of these navigation elements. All right, so just as a basic understanding, again, you're not expected to be a designer. So I'm just going to walk you through the basic concepts if you are going to go this route of just trying to put up a basic web page for yourself. So number one, the template gave us a bunch of pages. So I told you over here, we can go here to this navigation element called pages and menu. I've got a home page. I've got a service page that was a part of the template. I've got an about page, and I've got a contact page. So let's say I actually want a different picture. I'm just using an example. I want to add a page that is pictures of our favorite pets. So down here on the menus, site menus and pages, I can go to add a page. And it's going to give me some choices of some templates that have already been built, or I could just start with a blank page. I actually usually start with the templates that they've got. And you can change the text. It's really, you're just looking at the design. Do I like a picture here and some text here? Or do I like it more with a lot of text? Or do I like it with this grid so that I could put, maybe if I'm doing our favorite pets, I could do a different picture of a pet instead of people in each one of these areas. So you're just kind of picking a layout, what you like about a page. And then you're envisioning, well, what would it look like if I had my colors, my picture, and my text? So I'm just going to add this page. And now I'm going to give it a name, and I'm going to call it Our Favorite pets. And what you're going to see is, do you see up here how our favorite pets was just added to the navigation? So any page that you add is going to be automatically added to this navigation. But let's say I don't want it there. I want it hidden. I can go to these three dots and I could say hide. And now it's off that navigation. And I could do show. So that's just the basics of how to add a page. Now I'm going to go back to the home page. The next that I want to talk about is, first you've got a page, and the page could be completely blank. You know, this could have nothing. I like starting with a template. So the idea is to start with a page, and then within each page, you've got sections, which can also be strips. So if I click here, do you see how it now has activated this area and it says add section? This is a section. I could add a section above or below this. So I just added a section here. And I could put anything in that information. So let's see, I'm going to undo that and we're going to go back. Oops. Bear with me. So that's just kind of the way that your page is set up. So another way that we could is we could add a strip. So that's here on the plus button. I can go here to a strip and I can add a strip anywhere on my page, but I don't actually want the strip, which is just a section. I don't actually want it there. You know, we can move the strip up or down. You can see these arrows to kind of move and adjust height, etc. So that's just sections within each section. So that's just the pieces of your page. You might have an image, and then you might have, you know, about us, and then you might have another section with features. Here in this area, let's say that I don't like this image, or let's say I want to add an image to a section. I want to maybe replace this image. So you see where it says change image? I can either change what's already there if I'm using a template, or I could go up here to the plus sign and I could say add an image. And I can upload an image from my desktop. Okay, and now I'm going to add it to the page. Do you see how it's selected? Now I'm going to add it to the page. And do you see how this picture now has been added to the page? So I can move that around. I can change the size of the image by dragging these little circles on either side. I could put it up here, etc. So that's how to add an image from the left-hand side. Let's say I've already got a template. I'm going to get rid of this, and I wanted to go in this area where this image is. So I find where that image is, and do you see how the blue has been activated? And it says image, and I go to, so now this part is activated, and I'm going to go to change image, and I'm going to pick that picture, and it's probably going to be too small. Oh no, it's okay. So we just replace that. So that's number one, how to change your image. So that's adding and deleting images. And again, I could drag and drop this by dragging these little circles on the side to make the image a little bit, and then I pick it up and I drag it. Again, I said this is why we love Wix, because it's drag and drop. It's a lot easier than a lot of the content management systems that are out there. And again, I'm aware that we're going really fast. That's why we're recording this. We wanted to make sure that you could go back and rewatch it. So now in this section called the strip, you know, this strip, this part of the page, I can add elements, I can add a picture, or I can add text. Here, because we had a template, we already had a text box. But if I wanted to add text, I do the same thing I did with the image, which is add elements. And instead of this image area or a button or a gallery, Instead of all of that, I'm going to go to this add text, and then I'm going to tell it, do I want it to be a headline, which is the, really big, or do I want to add a paragraph? So let's just say I want to add a paragraph. And now I've got this paragraph and I'm dragging and dropping it here so that I can put in some information about my dog grooming service. So that's how to add text, either as a headline or a paragraph. But how do I change text? So again, with Wix, the important part is clicking on the element or the area that you want to change and making sure that you see this little blue area and that it's highlighted. So right now, anything I do will affect this image. But if I click over here, do you see how it's light blue? If I click in the area, now it's become activated. So now I can edit my text. And I'm going to say, Anne's grooming service, or actually Anne's dog grooming service. We want to be specific. So now it's Anne's dog grooming service. Maybe I don't like the blue that's here. Again, I highlight my text area. I've just double clicked on it to edit the text. And down here, I could change the font size. I could change the actual font itself. I can change the color here. No, let's pick that one. So that's kind of the basics. I could change the alignment. I could say I wanted it centered. So those are the basics, like the color, the alignment, the font size, and what kind of a font there is. Now let's say on the background itself, again, in this section, I don't like this blue. That's not my brand color. So I have highlighted the section. I'm not in the text. I'm not in the image. I am clicking down here to highlight the section. And I'm going to say change strip background. And over here, I could put an image in. I wouldn't recommend that. Instead, I'm going to pick a color. And I'm going to pick a nice soft gray because I really like the soft gray. I could add other colors, but here I've got some default colors that were set with the theme. So if you wanted to add different colors, you can go up here and I could make it a red, but I'm not going to do that. So we're going to pick this nice soft gray. And that's that. Now, none of this has been saved. So all of my work, I now want to go up and save. I'm sorry, autosave is on, but I want to save it. I don't yet want to publish it. And then I just say done. If I wanted to preview it, I can go up here. And this is what it's going to look like to your customers when they actually go to the live site. So again, this isn't that pretty. We did this super fast, but I think you get the elements on how to change things. And that applies to everything on this page. So I can change here to say our services. I double clicked and I was in the text area. So you can also, if you wanted to, I just wanted to point out here for in this section, walk through all of these elements. I could add a video here if I had a video. I could add, a lot of different things that are all here under the elements. So you can upload them onto the website so that they're customized pictures for yourself, or you can actually use Wix stock images. So here, free from Wix, I could put in, a stock image. Let's say if I find a dog, let's say you don't have great pictures, I could input this picture. This is stock images are just images that are generic and you generally can pay for them. Or there are free stock images on Pixabay, Unsplash, Adobe stock images, I think that lets you do a free trial for up to 10 free images. So let's say if you didn't have your own pictures, Wix does provide a lot of stock images you can use, which is different than a lot of other content management systems. They don't necessarily do that. So that's another thing that we like about Wix. So I think that's the basics of how to build a page in Wix. Here on the menus and pages, I can change the order of things. Do you see how here it says home, services, about, contact? I could have contact up here. Let's say I actually don't want contact. Again, I showed you the hide. So contact went away. So those are just some of the basics of Wix. So that should at least help you to get a basic website up and going. So I'm going to move on to Shopify now. I'm going to come back to Wix to talk about SEO, domains, etc. after we do a Shopify demo. Are there any questions, Eric, on just the design element of Wix?